Welcome to the EXCELcast mini episode. This is a new series of discussions with current students and graduates who are talking about their experience with our Accelerator grant program. So I'm here with Martha Guth, who is the founder and co-artistic director of Sparks and Wiry Cries. Can you tell us, Martha, what is Sparks and Wiry Cries?
Sure. Well, succinctly, it's a global platform for art song, but it does consist of a number of different layers. And that the very first layer is a website that is like a magazine for art song, but online. So it's an e-zine.
So sparksandwirycries.org.
That's right. So we have a calendar of recital events that go on around the country. We have articles written by musicologists. We have blogs written by performers, and we also interview composers and performers as well. So that's the website. But then we also run a recital series in New York City, and we take those concerts to interesting venues around the city in Brooklyn, Manhattan, Queens, other places. And then our third arm is a commissioning arm. And we've just wrapped up a commission just 2 weeks ago from composer Andrew Staniland. It's a piece called Islands and Earthquakes, and it was a great success, and it has really invigorated us for this next chapter.
Well, I love your project because you're creating art with the commissioning project, you're performing art, and then you're really spreading the news about art song being an exciting living tradition. This is not just a 19th century thing that Schubert did that sort of, went away. This is actually something that's responding to day-to-day life in the 21st century.
Exactly. What we really love about it is it's just what you said, it's a living thing. We're taking composers who are writing now and poets who are writing now and creating something meaningful and alive for the moment.
So you won $2,000 from the Accelerator program. What'd you do with it?
We went out and bought recording equipment, and we've already used that. We bought it about 3 weeks ago. We've already used it 3 times. One to record our commissioned piece of music, and another to record poet Donald Hall. He's the 14th Poet Laureate of the United States, and we went to his home in New Hampshire. And the reason why we did that is because he is going to be part of next year's premiere. We have composer Herschel Garfein, who took 8 of his poems and set them to music.
So one of the amazing things I saw in your final report, so you started with this $2,000 seed, and how much money have you raised to date?
To date, about $23,000.
And how much are you hoping to raise by the end of the year?
About $53,000.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
That's exactly what we want to see. Just really to see, it's in your name, Spark, right? So
yeah.
This is the Accelerator in some ways was the Spark. So what did you do? What did you get from the Accelerator program? Were there specific aspects of the program, parts of our training in Excel that have proved useful to you?
Absolutely. I would say right from the beginning, it was the mentorship. The money was great. That was tremendous. But really, I feel like I've come into my own as a communicator, as somebody who heads an organization. I feel like I can really own that now because I've gotten the information I need. One very specific contact was that you hooked us up with was a nonprofit lawyer, Brendan Weiner. And he was tremendous. He taught a mini course here that I would recommend to anybody, but he also met with us one-on-one, and he helped me define all of the different parameters for our artist contracts, and also just help us shape the way legally you would create a nonprofit business.
Yeah, you really have to have the long term, and sometimes the legal terrain is really complicated, so having a sort of guide to that is so helpful.
Yeah.
Were there other things you learned from doing the Accelerator program?
Yes, absolutely. There's a lot. We also got a great partnership going with the University Musical Society, and there were 2 people there who helped us tremendously. One was Michael Konjoka, who met with us about programming, how to be innovative with programming, but also be reverential to the music at the heart of it. So there's this kind of outpouring of outgrowth and also coming back to your center. And I loved that. That was such a good message from him. We also met with their social media director, and that was fantastic as well.
Anna Pershinskaya?
She was wonderful because she allowed us to set up a calendar for when things should go out and how they should be written, how to experiment with that kind of thing. We would not actually have thought about so many of the things that she told us.
That's great. I mean, just the way your whole imagination expanded about what this project can be and the scope of it and how that could change. And you did this all while you were completing your doctoral degree, right? Giving recitals, orals, all that stuff. How did you do all that?
We worked very hard. But this is something that I'm obviously passionate about. And I would say that because I don't think we would have done this work had we not had the framework of the EXCEL program. But because we had that framework, I now feel that I have two things in my professional life that I am equally passionate about. And I did not come into this thinking that way. So I have always known that I was a passionate performer. But now I really feel like I'm a passionate advocate and administrator and leader for this organization.
So what's next for Sparks and Wiry Cries?
So we have our very first full season coming next year. And in that, we've got 4 big events that are going to happen. One is a big fundraiser with Rhiannon Giddens. She is not necessarily the first person you would think of
with
when you
Song,
come to Art Song.
I think of the Carolina chocolate drops, right?
Exactly, right. However, we both went to Oberlin together, and she has sung classically all of her life. She has a tremendous range as far as what she brings to the table. She knows all the repertoire, but she also is able to reach out and draw other people in, and that's exactly what we need. The whole season, in fact, is about drawing people in from different areas. So another thing that I mentioned earlier, this commission with Herschel Garfein and Donald Hall, this is going to be a co-pro with Columbia Medical School, surprisingly, and that's because their narrative medicine department has used the poetry of Donald Hall in the past because he speaks so beautifully through his poems about grief. And so they are teaching their students how to navigate that thorny minefield when they are in a professional setting.
Yeah. So it sounds like one of the things you learned is the power of people. I mean, really these relationships and building on that.
And not being afraid to come to somebody with an idea. And frankly, something that I had always been afraid of, not being afraid to ask somebody for help or for funding.
And how often do they say yes and how often do they say no in your experience?
I have been shocked actually at how often they've said yes. And maybe it's my enthusiasm, but as a performer, I think we are all very used to rejection, and even as somebody who performs quite often, there is a lot of rejection along the path. And this, I have not found to be the case for this.
Well, I'm so glad we said yes to you when you submitted that proposal. And really, it was an honor for us to be working with you in the Accelerator program. So thanks for coming in today.
For me too, thank you.